the world's great novels. NBC presents the final episode of its three-part adaptation of A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court by Samuel Clemens. Another in our series of books that live, the world's great novels. In this final portion of the strange story of a Yankee from Hartford, Connecticut, who was knocked unconscious in a fight and awoke to find himself at King Arthur's court, the Connecticut Yankee himself tells of the adventures of a 19th century American in 6th century England.
Time went by, and as good King Arthur's prime minister, I tried to bring the blessings of the future to the realm, although I was opposed by the magician Merlin and many knights and nobles. With my loyal assistant Clarence to help me, and the maid Sandy to encourage me, I quietly and secretly established schools, factories, telegraph and telephone communications, and our own military and naval academy. Of course, I made enemies, and one of them, Sir Sagramore, challenged me to battle in the great tournament at Camelot. That's when I decided to strike a blow at this business of knighthood and chivalry that sounded so fine, but was really nothing but tyranny. I accepted the challenge, and the great day dawned. The flower of knighthood was gathered there, and the jousting began, with one killed or wounded contestant after another being carried from the field. Then it was my turn to ride against Sir Sagramore. There was a big cheer as Sagramore rode to his place on a big white charger, the sun glittering on his armor and the plume of his helmet dancing in the breeze. Then there was a roar of laughter when I appeared, for I was wearing nothing but a gymnasium suit and was carrying no weapons, only a coil of rope. But the laughter died when the battle signal was given. And Sir Sagramore charged, coming full tilt with his lance pointed toward me. I felt the sweat break out, but I held my ground till the last split second, then swerved my horse and dodged, and he went clattering by like the 5:15 express. He wheeled and turned and came rushing past again. This time, spurring my horse aside as he went by, I twirled my rope over my head like a lasso. I threw the loop, saw the noose settle around his shoulders, then braced my horse. And Sir Sagramore came down with a crash like a hardware store struck by lightning. After that, the other knights challenged me one by one, and I roped and hog-tied them as fast as they came. Yes, sir, it was me against the whole world of chivalry that day. At last, I rode back to my tent. I'd beaten the whole lot of them.
Ah, Sir Boss, thou hast defeated all knight-errantry.
Well, Clarence, I guess that'll show 'em what a Yankee can do. Noble blood or no noble blood. Now, I guess we can knock off and call it a day.
Oh, sire, there is one more to challenge thee.
Merlin, where did you come from? What do you want here?
I come to tell ye Sir Sagramore hath entered the fray again, and I have woven a spell about him to make ye powerless.
Go along with your spells, Merlin, but if Sir Sagramore wants to tilt again, I guess I've got to accommodate him.
This time ye will see who is the master. Thy power is done.
'Tis true, Sir Boss. Sir Sagramore doth ride once more. But beware of Merlin and his evil magic.
I'm not worried about the old buzzard's magic. But wait a minute. Where's my rope? What happened to my lasso?
Well, truly, 'tis gone, Sir Boss. But 'twas here a moment ago.
He stole it. That's what happened. That dirty little crook, Merlin. The battle signal was given, and I rode out. Sagramore could see that I was weaponless, but he came charging at me anyway, a big sword flashing death in the air. It was his life against mine. So when he was almost on top of me, I grabbed my revolver from a hidden holster and fired. There was a flash and a roar. I shoved the revolver back in its hiding place, and Sir Sagramore fell from his rearing horse, stone dead. Well, you never saw such excitement. But Through it all, I stayed on my horse in the center of the field. I challenged any knight who dared ride against me. Then I challenged them all together. And it was a bluff, for there were hundreds of them, but I looked them in the eye and they stopped in their tracks. Knight errantry was doomed, and the march of civilization was begun. Your Majesty, there are greater wonders than any you've seen yet that I can give your people.
Greater wonders yet, Sir Boss?
Yes, King Arthur. Things like education, freedom, and equality.
Oh?
But first, I want to take a look around the country.
Whate'er ye wish shall be at thy command. My coach, my servant.
No, Your Majesty. I'm going to go as a peasant, so I can see how the people really live. Then I can plan for them better.
As a peasant? Thou it is a strange adventure. What wouldst thou think if it were in my heart to go with thee, likewise disguised?
I think it's a good idea, and it's just what I expected you to say, Your Majesty. I'd like for you to see how life in your country is, not for lords and nobles, but for the everyday man.
It shall be done, Sir Boss, and I shall see my people without they know to be on guard. Come, let us journey forth where'er the road wanders.
We must get off the road, Your Majesty. Someone's riding this way. It looks like a group of nobles.
Let them ride, Sir Boss. Thus disguised, no one shall know me.
Well, don't forget that you're a peasant. Now, you've got to take off your hat to them.
Have no fear. I'll not forget.
Oh, here they come. Now, be careful.
Oh! What meanest this, varlet?
Your Majesty, get off the road.
Thou insolent knave. Make way when one of my rank rides by.
Make way. But of a surety there is room enough and more for both of us.
Thou swine! Methinks my whip will remind thee of thy place.
No.
There, take that, and learn to speak not so arrogantly.
But, sire, I only...
Lucky for you, I have no time to give you the thrashing you deserve. Stand aside and remember the lash in time to come.
Why, by my crown, I'll have
Shut
you
up,
plucked.
you fool. I mean, Your Majesty. Let them go on.
But by my faith, they shall pay for this.
Never mind, never mind. Why, you almost ended our trip before it began. Now remember, we must not only look, but act like peasants.
But is the road not for the use of all? He had no right to act in such a manner.
No, Your Majesty. You're the one who has no rights. Not as long as you're a peasant.
But, Sir Boss, I did aught that thou asked of me. I uncovered my head and even bowed.
Oh, I don't know what to do with you, Your Majesty. You just don't have the right look about you. Come on. Let's practice here by the side of the road. Now, do you think you can look as worthless, as wretched, as woebegone as the vilest peasant?
I trow I can appear as insignificant as any man.
No, I'm not so sure. It takes a lifetime of practice, Your Majesty. Now, suppose you try to walk back and forth like a peasant.
So shall I do. I pride myself that I can learn.
No, Your Majesty, that isn't it at all. You're not a man now, much less a noble. You're dirt under everyone's feet. Your head's down. Your eyes look at the ground. Your shoulders sag. Your body slouches. And your step is shambling.
Verily I shall master the way of it. Watch now, and see if peradventure this is right.
Well, that's pretty good, Your Majesty, but there's still something wrong. You see, the trouble is, you still have pride and spirit. You think you're as good as anyone. Now get the feel of it. You're in debt. You're out of work. Your wife is sick, and your children are crying because they're hungry. But you dare not ask for food. You're ashamed in the sight of those who love you, but you cannot protest. You hate those who oppress you, but you no longer question.
But, sire, is it true that in England...
I said you no longer question. I'll tell you all you need to know, without your help.
Yes, sire. I did not mean to speak nor question thy authority.
There. That's better, Your Majesty. Just remember poverty and shame. Remember despair and disgrace. The king and I got along all right after that. And as we traveled, he learned things he'd never known. What it meant to be hungry and unable to command bread. To be cursed and kicked and unable to raise your voice. To see injustice done and unable to raise your hand. But when we got to London town, he learned the worst. We were penniless and friendless, and I guess we looked at that morning as we joined a crowd in the town square.
I wonder on the meaning of the crowd. Let us push closer.
Stand back. Who dost thou think thou art shoving?
Pardon us, sir. We only wanted to see what's going on here.
Thou art an officer by thy garb. Perhaps thou wouldst deign to tell us.
Thou dost not know the business at hand?
No. We are strangers here in London town, and know not of thy ways.
Strangers are ye now?
Yea, we have wandered here from far yonder.
Perhaps then ye be not only strangers. Why have ye wandered from afar?
Well, you see, fair sir, we were looking for work.
Oh, guard! Seize these two men.
Yes, sire.
What is the meaning?
Hold ye two, or it means right death.
Lock them in chains.
Yes, sire.
Hey, what's the meaning of this?
Explain at once what meaneth this ill-mannered jest.
Ye two are strangers and wanderers by thy own words. Perhaps ye also be slaves who have escaped thy master.
Slaves! We be not slaves.
I claim ye slaves, and ye should be sold at yonder auction. Ye ask what transpired here. 'Tis a slave sale. Ye wanted a better view. Ye should be on the platform itself.
Oh, but you can't do this.
Nay, 'tis not fair. If we be slaves, thou must prove us slaves.
Knowest thou not thy nation's laws? Ye must prove ye are not slaves, and ye cannot. Guard, take them to the auction block.
Well, sir, we were sold as slaves. King Arthur had been stunned and silent at first on the block, but when he was sold, he brought his chained hands down on a noble's head in a sudden burst of rage. I helped him in the scuffle, and we found ourselves in a prison dungeon. And we were chained and locked together, but two things happened on the way to the dungeon that cheered me up. I managed to find and hide a broken sword point, and I caught a glimpse of a wire stretched from housetop to housetop. It must be one of our telephones. Though it was morning, it was dark as night as we lay in the gloom of our stone cell. You'll have to pardon me, Your Majesty, but you were crazy to hit that fellow.
I could help it not, Sir Boss. It made my blood to boil.
To be sold as a slave? Well, we're worse off now.
It was not only to be sold as a slave that angered me, but didst thou not hear the price? Why, I have paid more than was bid for me for a hunting hound.
Well, never mind that now. With a little luck, we'll be free again.
Huh? Free? How so?
I have a piece of steel here to pick these locks.
Oh, good.
I have to get my own off first, then I'll attend to yours.
But what about the guards, fair sir? They come often to the cell.
All the better for us, Arthur. We'll keep our chains on as if we were still locked up. Then when the guard comes in and unlocks the door, we'll jump on him.
'Tis a brave plan for a surety.
There. I have mine off. My hands are free. Now for my ankles. There. That does it.
Make haste, Sir Boss. Someone is at the door.
I can't set you free, Your Majesty. The guard's here. We'll have to try it another time.
No, you are free. Attack the guard when he enters.
Oh, you varlets. Are you learning well the folly of striking out against our betters?
We have learned many things. Mayhap enough to teach you something.
What's the meaning of this? His chains are free. You shall pay for this. Oh, God!
Silence him.
You must flee, Sir Boss. I can hold this knave whilst he escapes.
But you can't come with me.
Hurry before the others come. Run whilst the door is open. 'Tis better one of us escape than we both remain in durance. Go, I command you.
All right, I'll bring help.
Haste ye. The other guards are coming. Run, run, as there before.
I just barely made it out of there before the other guards came. Then I ducked down side streets and alleys till I thought I was safe. After that, I struck out for that wire I'd seen, and I followed it till it led to the floor over a little butcher shop. The shop was empty, and I ran up the steps and opened the door. Quick! Call up Camelot.
Call Camelot?
Yes, and don't just sit there staring. Be lively about it.
But, sire, who art thou? And how dost thou know about the telephone?
Oh, I forgot. Hello, Central. Does that mean anything to you?
Oh, 'tis the password.
Now, hurry. I'm a desperate man. Call Camelot and ask for Clarence.
Hello? Hello, Central. Are you there? I say, sir, get me long distance. Camelot. 'Tis a person-to-person call to Mr. Clarence.
I hope that goes through quick. This is no time for a wrong number.
Very well, sire. Here's your party.
Hello? Hello, Clarence. This is the boss. Now listen carefully. The king is here in London, and he's in danger. Send an army of soldiers at once, and in a hurry. Have them march to the prison, and I'll try to meet them there. Is that clear? Good. Oh, what's that? We'll start in half an hour? Good boy, Clarence. Goodbye. I slipped out of the butcher shop the back way, but somehow they'd followed me. I no more than turned out of an alley into a street when...
Oh, men, here he is. 'Tis he who struck me on the pate.
Now, just a minute.
Shoulder thou a dead man. Thou'lt not escape this time.
All right, I'll go quietly, officer, but by tomorrow my companion and I will be free.
Aye, and marry well you shall be. You shall be free of prison and of life itself.
What's that? What do you mean?
For your violence, you've been condemned to death.
Oh, so that's the story. Oh, well, when's this execution going to come off? Tomorrow at sunrise, I suppose.
You suppose not well. You shall be hanged this very day, in the middle of the afternoon.
I'm not a nervous man, but I almost fainted when I heard his words. There would be no time for help to come. No one could save the King of England, nor this Conneticut Yankee from death. My head swam dizzily as they marched me back to the prison to join the king. Then they led us to a platform in the prison yard, and a great crowd gathered for the festivities. And they got more entertainment than they bargained for because King Arthur decided to take a last chance.
Ye knaves and varlets, are there none among you to recognize your master? I am Arthur, King of Britain.
Oh, listen now. This is His Majesty the King.
Bow down, everyone. Bow down. Let us kneel before his serene and sacred raggedness.
You fools! It is King Arthur. He's your king.
Of course, of a surety he is. Just look at his noble robe.
And who be ye? Art thou some mighty lord?
Why, methinks he's the king's minister.
Yes, I am his minister. I'm the boss. And by tonight, you'll hear from Camelot.
He is the boss, forsooth. Show then one of thy miracles.
Come, enough of this nonsense. The hangman is ready. Let there be silence seen for such wretches as these as they ascend the gallows. Come, O bearded one, climb yonder steps.
Farewell, Sir Boss. Thou hast been my faithful counselor, and the friend of my kingdom. Farewell.
Goodbye, King Arthur. You're a man fit to be a king. Oh, but wait. No, it can't be. I must be seeing things.
Gadzooks! What strange manner of thing is this?
Oh, it's Bodikins. There is a sound of a swarm of locusts.
Lack-a-day! Mine eyes deceiveth me.
Your Majesty, it's help from Camelot. Look at them come.
But what strange steeds are those?
They're on bicycles, Your Majesty. On bicycles. Hundreds of them.
Hola, Sir Boss. We're here.
Oh, it's Clarence in the lead, Your Majesty. On your knees, everyone. Kneel to the king.
Stand back, everyone, and we'll ride over you. Are you all right, Sir Boss?
Yes, thanks to you, Clarence. You got here just in time. I didn't know we had bicycle cavalry.
It's a little surprise I've been saving, boss. I've had the boys practicing for a long time, just waiting for a chance to show it off.
When we got back to Camelot, King Arthur backed me all the way as I settled down to improving conditions throughout the country. And to make my happiness complete, I married the maid Sandy. Years of peace and progress went by, until at last I felt free to go with Sandy on a vacation on the French coast. I was so happy I quit worrying about everything until news ceased to come from England. As the days passed, I knew that something must be wrong, terribly wrong. I resolved to go back alone. So I said goodbye to Sandy, and it was a fearful parting. I made my way secretly across the English countryside, and it was a strange and silent land. I asked no questions, but hurried as quickly as I could to see Clarence.
No sooner were you gone from the land, Sir Boss, when Merlin and Sir Mordred, the king's nephew, plotted to take over the kingdom.
But the people were loyal to King Arthur. What could they do?
They turned the king against Sir Launcelot by telling him of the rumor of the love between Launcelot and Queen Guinevere.
Now, that's a good start in treason, all right.
The king had the queen put in prison in his anger. Then those who were loyal to Sir Launcelot rode to rescue her.
And that set off the fireworks, I suppose.
Sir Launcelot wanted only peace for the realm. He retreated to his castle of Joyous Guard. All might have ceased, but Merlin and Mordred counseled the king to pursue him there, leaving the kingdom in Sir Mordred's hands.
And when Mordred got his hands on it, he wouldn't let go, unless I miss my guess.
'Tis true. He seized the realm. So when the king returned, their armies fought until Sir Mordred fell.
Sir Mordred fell?
Aye.
Oh, that's good. But I'll bet nothing happened to Merlin.
Nay, Merlin liveth on. But in the same battle, King Arthur fought till he was slain.
King Arthur? King Arthur's dead?
Aye.
What a sad day for Britain.
And you'll be dead too, Sir Boss, if Merlin has his way. All the knights are gathering now to destroy those who are loyal to you.
Well, we'll see about that, hey, Clarence? What can they do against our scientific war equipment and our trained armies?
Hold, Sir Boss. We have less than 60 men left.
What? Out of all our schools and factories and armies? Well, what happened, Clarence?
Why, they deserted, that's what happened. They feared the authority of the knights and the magic of Merlin.
Well, what you say is true. Everything's lost.
Ah, not yet, Sir Boss. Do you remember Merlin's cave?
Yes?
Well, I took the loyal men, stationed them there, and fortified it for a siege.
Say, that was a first-rate idea.
I've wired dynamite charges under all our factories and mills and ammunition plants. We can blow them up in 2 seconds, so they won't fall in the hands of the enemy.
Good boy. We'll give them a tussle yet. Why, this is our chance, Clarence. One side defeated knight-errantry, but now we'll wipe it out. Let's move to the cave and get ready for action. Well, Clarence had done the job to perfection. On a tower above the cave, there was a battery of Gatling guns. Around the cave, he'd planted a strip of land with torpedoes that would explode when anyone put foot on them. Beyond that, there were a dozen wire fences, all electrically charged. And farther off was a huge ditch which could be flooded by blowing up a dam to cut off retreat. After looking things over, I was aching for action, so I sent out a proclamation declaring England a republic. And before a week was out, my spies reported that knights had gathered from everywhere and that all England was marching against us. I watched my 100 lads grow more and more nervous. At last, I called a meeting to ask them how they felt, and it was my old friend Hugo who was their spokesman.
Sir Boss, we would not have ye doubt our courage, nor our belief in you, for we have shared thy dream. But it is England itself that is marching against us. Oh, we treasure well thy republic, but these people are our people, Sir Boss. They are bone of our bone and flesh of our flesh. Oh, we pray ye, do not ask us to destroy our nation.
You have spoken well, Hugo. You are Englishmen, and you should never forget it. But while it is England that marches against us, who will march in the front?
Why, the host of mailed knights, Sir Boss.
That's right. 30,000 mailed knights. Think of this. Only the nobles and knights will ever reach our fortifications. These knights and nobles are not your fellow men, but your masters. You will be fighting only them for the freedom of England from their rule.
'Tis true as ye say, Sir Boss. We shall fight these tyrants, for we would but be loyal to our country.
Well, there wasn't any question of what we were fighting for and against after that. We manned our stations, and pretty soon we saw them coming. It was a great sea of mounted knights moving toward us, a sea that glittered as the sunlight struck wave after wave of shining armor. They came closer and closer and crossed the ditch. They straggled through the rows of wire fences by the thousands. By the time the whole vast multitude had crossed the ditch, those in front were approaching the torpedo mines only a few yards away from where we were waiting.
All ready, boss?
Hold it, Clarence. We've got them all in the trap. Wait till they hit the torpedo belt.
Here the first come, on a gallop.
All right, Clarence. The electric fences.
The fences, men! Turn on full power!
They're dropping, but they're still coming on. Open fire, Clarence.
Battery, attention! Open fire!
That's stopping them. They're turning back. Blow up the dam.
Blow up the dam, men! Turn on the water!
Within 10 minutes after we'd opened fire, resistance was annihilated. We had defeated Merlin and his forces. We had defeated the lords and nobles. We had defeated tradition and tyranny. But our very victory was our own defeat. We were trapped where we were by the bodies of all the dead. Huge walls of bodies that soon filled the air with poison and struck us down one by one.
Sir Boss. Sir Boss.
Yes, Hugo. What is it, man?
Is there no chance?
No, Hugo. We've trapped ourselves. Our victory was not to be.
Give me your hand. Let me say farewell.
Farewell, Hugo.
At least I would have died for freedom. Not as you found me on a torture rack. Farewell.
My last old friend is dead. What? Who moves there? Clarence. Clarence, is it you? No, Clarence is dead. What am I thinking of? But someone moves. I see a shadow. Speak.
Ye were conquerors. Now ye are conquered.
That voice. I know that voice. Who are you?
I am Merlin, whom you thought you had escaped.
Merlin? What are you doing here?
I come with magic. Magic more ancient than yours. The others have all perished, but ye shall not join them.
Go away. I'm going to join Sandy. She's waiting for me.
Ye shall sleep for a long time. Ye shall sleep for a long time.
But the world will not sleep. Your magic will not prevail in time.
Ye shall sleep to wake in a strange land after 13 centuries. It is my spell. Merlin has spoken.
Yes, you can make me sleep. But my spirit will always awaken again. I'm going home. Home to Hartford, in Connecticut.
So ends The Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court by Samuel Clemens. Brought to you by the NBC University of the Air as one of the world's great novels. The Connecticut Yankee was adapted for radio by Jack Wilson. Donald Gallagher was featured as the Yankee. The role of King Arthur was played by George Kluge. Clarence by Johnny Coons, Merlin by Sherman Marks, and Hugo by Charles Mountain. Others were Howard Hall, Cliff Norton, and Jess Pugh. The music was composed by Emil Soderstrom, and the orchestra was directed by Bernard Berquist. The entire production was under the direction of Homer Heck. Next week, we will present a radio treatment of The Red Badge of Courage by Stephen Crane. Why not borrow a copy at your local public library, where it's to be had for the asking? To add to your enjoyment of this series, we recommend the Handbook of the World's Great Novels, which you may obtain by sending 25 cents to World's Great Novels, Post Office Box 30, Station J, New York 27, New York. This is John Conrad, and this program came to you from Chicago, is a presentation of the National Broadcasting Company and its affiliated independent stations. This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.